Hi, Bisma.
Hi.
Welcome. I am so excited to interview you because a lot of parents have a lot of questions related to speech therapy. Would you be able to introduce yourself to people who are listening?
Sure. Thank you. And thank you for having me over here. I think it's been really nice, having interactions with you over a call and nice to meet you virtually. Hi everyone. Myself, Bisma Shaikh. I'm a pediatric speech language therapist and I've been practicing for the past 13 years. So, my primary area of interest has been autism, late talkers, children with hearing impairment, and general delay. So I've been working mostly with children for early intervention, that is between the 1 to 5 age group, and I have my own blog page, The Speaking Mummy, on Instagram, where I have a community of over 100K plus followers, where I share tips, strategies, and simple activities that parents can carry out in their day to day environment. So, work front, everything has been very lovely and very rewarding that way. And this is something that is truly my passion. And I really enjoy working with children.
Awesome. It's like, we are living our dreams. At least, even for me, it was like I want to work with kids, and that's what I'm doing. So it's not like working. And the comments when we receive when kids are improving, I think that motivates us to keep
I
going,
know, truly, like especially hearing a child say their first words, it's like beautiful.
Music to ears. Yeah, music to
Yeah.
ears, actually. So, Bisma, parents typically very commonly ask me, and I know it's a very technical thing, but parents keep telling me, my child has dyspraxia. My child has, see, as an occupational therapist, yes, I know that kids have dyspraxia. I have no idea about speech apraxia or dyspraxia. I don't know what they keep calling, but they say my speech therapist has diagnosed my child with dyspraxia. Can you give some idea? I mean, sometimes, I feel, now this is again my perception, that people just read on the internet and they say, do you think this is what my child has? So, can you give some idea about what do you see when a child has dyspraxia?
So when we say dyspraxia or apraxia of speech, what we mean is that the child is having a very good understanding of language. Okay, the receptive language is very good over here. But in terms of the expressive language, the child is having a real difficulty with the formation of speech sounds. So the signals that are coming from the brain and telling the mouth to produce these sounds, the mouth is not able to execute this command that is coming from the brain. And that is why when we say that the child is having apraxia of speech or dyspraxia. Okay, so one of the most common sign or feature that we see is the child is having considerable difficulty with speech imitation. Okay, sometimes there is a difficulty even with imitating simple mouth movements, like open your mouth, close your mouth, stick out your tongue, or do some movements with the mouth. So sometimes even this is very difficult. But definitely diagnosing something like apraxia takes time, takes a lot of observations for us to be sure that the child really has this diagnosis present. So many times, what parents believe is that since the child is not talking, he has apraxia, but that is not true. Sometimes the children don't even have the basic prerequisite skills that are required to achieve verbal communication. Okay, attending to a caregiver, the social response to a caregiver, or understanding language. Their vocabulary only is not strong enough. So till the child is not understanding language, we can't expect them to really start saying words. So definitely the diagnosis is something that is done over a period of time and not just, in once or twice when we see the child. It requires time.
Right. Because, when I work with kids, so they have dyspraxia, and I don't work with mouth specifically, but I work with the postural muscles, the big muscles. And we were taught, I mean, developmentally, the motor milestones develop before speech comes in. So the bigger
Very,
muscles
very
have
true.
to, have to be what you call, if a child can't jump when I jump, if the child can't sit on the ball and bounce when I bounce on the ball, so if the child is not able to use those big muscles than to use those small muscles and imitate.
Fine motor muscles of speech is very challenging.
Exactly. So fine motors is fingers, mouth, and eyes. So if I straight away go to reading, oh, my child is not reading, not talking, not writing, that would come in much later, right? That's
That
what.
will come definitely much later. And a lot of children we see with apraxia, they also have significant difficulty with imitating body movements,
Exactly.
right? Which is a very important cognitive prerequisite for the child to achieve. And I think we both work with something called as motor planning, which comes over here into picture, right? So the motor planning for body movements is affected. So the motor planning for speech will also be affected, and it is very challenging to work on these skills before working on the cross motor planning. So that
Exactly.
definitely.
And true. And it's like, yeah, you are a speech therapist, I'm an occupational therapist, but a child is a child. And
Yeah.
he will, it's like, it's there, all of these areas, both of them affect each other, as in, like it's not just speech affected. Okay, let's work on speech or whatever. So, do you also feel that if the child has dyspraxia, I have not seen a lot of kids with apraxia, is like can't do at all. But if, like, at least the motor movements I'm talking about, bigger, so if the child has dyspraxia, copying bigger motor movements, do you feed or do you recommend them to, do occupational therapy along with speech therapy?
Yes, yes, both are recommended together, and I do explain to parents as part of my assessment procedure that this is something challenging for the child. So we definitely need to work on this along with speech. So most of the children I work with are going for occupational therapy as well as speech therapy. Like there's no need of waiting, 3 months or 6 months you do this therapy and then you move on to the other. No, both
Both can
when
happen
started
together.
simultaneously, we see maximum improvements that time.
Exactly, like how a child who's learning to crawl is also going ba 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 ma ma ma. Learning to kneel is also, so there's, it's like happening together, not like one after the other.
True.
Uh, Lovely. The other thing that I wanted to ask you was a lot of kids. I'm talking about specifically autism here. When they're not able to speak and communicate for what they want, parents wait, speech aayega, which will come. But I believe, because I was trained in PECs many years back, so I use PECs, or I tell them go to a speech therapist, use some sign language, or use. But in autism, sign language is also difficult because sign language is associated with motor planning.
Motor
So,
planning, very true.
yeah. So do you also believe, I mean, it's what is your viewpoint, that you keep waiting for speech or till speech emerges, give them some way to communicate?
So, definitely the focus is on communication, whether it is verbal, whether it is non-verbal, or whether it is a combined mode of communication.
Mm.
So, I am very clear with parents when they come to me for assessment that I am not going to work only on speech. My job as a therapist is to help your child communicate through whichever way they can within the best of their abilities,
Yes.
right? So, I have given, picture boards for communication even to children who are 2.5 years of age. When I see that the child is having the potential to communicate and the child is having frustrations and behavior difficulties because parents are not able to understand, or the child is not having a means to express those things to parents, then these modes of communication are provided and they are very beneficial. Okay, so parents have this belief that if we start pictures, then the child will not learn to
Won't
speak.
come.
But
Yeah.
that is not going to happen. Speech is one of the most easiest way for a child to communicate. Why
Right.
would they not do it on purpose? Right?
Right.
So it's not that it's not going to happen. In fact, using pictures, okay, we know a lot of autistic children are visual learners. So using pictures helps them to recall and use the word for communication,
Right.
right? So as a bridge to help them
Right.
reach the verbal communication. So that
Yeah,
is definitely.
because absolutely, because retrieval of information is difficult in the first place for a lot of kids. In fact, if I go to a restaurant, they won't speak out the list of things that they're serving. They would show me a visual, right? So, yes, visuals. So I'm happy, like, you also believe in combining both of those things. And those who are listening, Bisma is also coming on the app once a month, and she's taking topics, related to. I think Bisma would tell better.
Also
So
related to language and communication in children, we just did our first topic, which was strategies for parent-child interaction. On how you as a parent can mold your interactions to help develop your child's communication skills. And this coming Saturday, I think August, the first Saturday of
August.
August, we would be talking about language stimulation strategies. So, whoever is joining us for the second one, I would recommend you to please watch the first one so that you can understand and apply the second, one in a better way.
Yeah,
So,
it's like the foundation was laid, and then you're
yeah,
kind of building on
build
top.
up content. Yes.
Awesome.